Sadducean theology and its alignment with Epicurean philosophy. Acts 23, verse 8. For Sadducees say that there is no resurrection and no angel or spirit, but the Pharisees confess both. The Sadducees, a Jewish sect active during the Second Temple period, are often remembered for their denial of the resurrection and their rejection of many popular religious notions. Yet, a deeper study of their theology reveals striking parallels with the philosophy of Epicurus and his followers. Both traditions, one Jewish and scriptural, the other Greek and philosophical, denied the immortality of the soul, dismissed fate, and emphasized free will and the corporeality of existence. Their common outlook challenges the later dominance of Pharisaic doctrines, rabbinic traditions, and Platonic ideas of an immortal soul. Josephus on the Sadducees. Our clearest description of the Sadducees comes from the Jewish historian Josephus. He consistently contrasts their theology with that of the Pharisees. 1. Rejection of fate. But the doctrine of the Sadducees is this, that souls die with the bodies, nor do they regard the observation of anything besides what the law enjoins them. For they think it an instance of virtue to dispute with those teachers of philosophy whom they frequent. This doctrine is received but by a few, yet by those still of the greatest dignity. But they are able to do almost nothing of themselves, for when they become magistrates, as they are unwillingly and by force sometimes obliged to be, they addict themselves to the notions of the Pharisees, because the multitude would not otherwise bear them. Antiquities 18.14. 2. Free will. But then as to the doctrine of the Sadducees, it is this, that souls die with the bodies, nor do they regard the observation of anything besides what the law enjoins them. For they think it an instance of virtue to dispute with those teachers of philosophy whom they frequent. This doctrine is received but by a few, yet by those still of the greatest dignity. Wars 2.814. And elsewhere. They also take away fate and say there is no such thing, and that the events of human affairs are not at its disposal. But they suppose that all our actions are in our own power, so that we are ourselves the causes of what is good, and receive what is evil from our own folly. Antiquities 13.5.9. From these passages we see the Sadducees affirmed, no fate or predestination. God does not cause or think evil. Man has the free choice of good or evil. The soul is not immortal. It perishes with the body. No afterlife, no resurrection, no rewards or penalties after death. The New Testament confirms this. For the Sadducees say that there is no resurrection, neither angel nor spirit, but the Pharisees confess both. Acts 23:8, KJV. Sadducean theology as corporeal man. The Sadducees firmly rejected mystical speculations about angels and disembodied spirits. They dismissed the Pharisaic belief in unseen intermediaries between God and man. For them, God was not an abstract immaterial essence, but a living power, corporeal and active in the world. Their refusal to accept doctrines of fallen angels or angelic intercessors was not skepticism toward God, but toward superstition. This aligns with the Hebrew scriptures themselves, which often describe God in physical terms, seeing, speaking, walking, acting. The Sadducees embraced this corporeal depiction, avoiding philosophical abstractions foreign to Israel's faith. Sadducees and Epicureans. Epicurus, writing in his letter to Herodotus, explained the atomic basis of reality and denied an afterlife. Accustom yourself to believe that death is nothing to us, for good and evil imply consciousness, and death is the privation of all consciousness. Therefore, a right understanding that death is nothing to us makes the mortality of life enjoyable. Elsewhere, he affirms the materiality of the soul. The soul is a body composed of fine parts, dispersed throughout the whole aggregate, most closely resembling breath with a certain admixture of heat, in some respects resembling one, in some the other. Epicurus also denied fate and divine interference. We must not suppose that events of the future are determined by necessity, but that some things happen of necessity, others by chance, others through our own agency. Letter to Menuisius. The parallels with Sadducean doctrine are unmistakable. Both denied fate and affirmed human freedom. Both denied an immortal soul and saw the soul as bodily. Both rejected an afterlife of reward or punishment. Both insisted God, or the gods, does not cause evil. And biblical and Jewish writings, reflecting Sadducean spirit. Scholars have long noted that certain biblical and Jewish writings bear a Sadducean character. The Jewish Encyclopedia observes, the book of Ecclesiastes in its original form, that is, before its Epicurean spirit had been toned down by interpolations, was probably written by a Sadducee in antagonism to the Hasidim. Eccle, 16, Ix 2. The wisdom of Ben Sira, which, like Ecclesiastes and older biblical writings, has no reference whatsoever to the belief in resurrection or immortality, is, according to Geiger, a product of Sadducean circles. Also, the first book of Maccabees is, according to Geiger, the work of a Sadducee. Ecclesiastes often reflects this tone. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts, even one thing befalleth them. As the one dieth, so dieth the other. Yea, they have all one breath, so that a man hath no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. All go unto one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Eccle 3, 1920. This is pure Sadducean anthropology. No immortal soul, no eternal torment, but a sober recognition of mortality. Conclusion. Sadducean theology aligns remarkably with Epicurean thought. Both rejected fate, dismissed immortality, denied post-mortem judgment, and affirmed human free will. Both insisted that death is the end of consciousness and that life must be lived with full awareness of its limits. Both rejected intermediary spirits or angels. And both retained a view of divinity that was free from the contradictions of imagining an immaterial essence that commits evil. In this light, the Sadducees can be seen as a Jewish counterpart to the Epicureans, a sect grounded in corporeal reality, skeptical of superstition, and committed to a rational faith in God and in human freedom.